Welcome to DinoNation. I'm your host, Dino Matrix, and today we're going to be breaking down the character Yukiteru Amano from Mirrai Nikki. I'm going to call him Yuki because me saying his name will literally cause me to turn Asian. If you want to hear me say Yukiteru, just have that part on loop whenever I say Yuki. With that being said, we're getting ready for some Dinoime breakdown. Let's go. So in many anime, they always have that one character that is the most useless piece of shit. And Yuki is that character. I've seen a lot of anime. Looking back, this guy is probably the top of my list on how just useless he is. The whole anime, he's either crying, asking questions, getting confused for like the littlest, most obvious thing that happens to him. He never even fights in the anime. He just kind of stands there and uses, like a Pokemon. There was a 2v2, right? Like between him, between him and this couple. And it was supposed to be like the best couple wins. And literally 1v2s them. The only thing that he does during these fights is compliment so she can fight better. Or get into like this bullshit at little dead end. It's like, literally he's gonna die. He gets into them like almost every goddamn time in the anime so can save him. Seriously, fuck this character. Alright. Now that that's out of my mind, let's get into the breakdown. Yukiteru Amano's type of character is that of someone who has gone through a lot of pain in his life. He had parents who were in an abusive relationship, with the dad being the one who's the heavy drinker, going to jail every so often, and the mom who is the sweetest, caring mother to him, who tried to give him the world. So naturally, he's going to turn out how he did. Yuki most likely as a child saw their parents grow apart and something went wrong in the father's life to change him into this like abusive father, but he didn't really understand what was going on, which sucks for him to see his parents go from a loving relationship to one that turned out that the way it did. He grew up being extremely lonely and distant from everyone and compensated by just looking at the world. He actually started writing a diary of everything that happened around him, or he just listened to everything going on. Yuki didn't have any friends, but there's nothing he can do about it. In the anime, it says that he would turn them down, but it goes it's a lot deeper than that. I actually really enjoyed seeing these type of characters because when you have one, most likely, the anime is gonna have some great storytelling, and this was no exception. Yuki is fighting to survive against people who hold cold diaries. These diaries are able to tell the future in their own unique way. Yuki's diary is known as the Observer Diary and can tell the future for who or what will come in his way. This ties in with the way he lived his life, writing about his environment and who he saw during the day. His diary is one of the stronger diaries in terms of usefulness because it gives him an exact knowledge on what is about to happen to him, which is kind of busted when you're trying to survive. Also, having to protect him makes it so he's basically unkillable. But even with that, he still manages to almost get himself killed numerous times, but he doesn't because plot armor. So throughout the anime, you can see that he doesn't trust Her being the main girl in the storyline. At one point, he goes into a room that had said to never go in, and he did out of curiosity, and that's when she locks him up in this other room, and that's the first time he sees her psycho side. The team that he ends up being with are all trying to figure out who is because they all think she's hiding something from him, but he doesn't see it because, he's one of those characters. He's one of those characters, honestly. There isn't much to break down about his views. They mostly stay the same in the anime, but there's major story that happens. So when I said that the storytelling is great, this part is what sold it for me. At one point, there's a flashback to when and Yuki first met. He's sitting in class taking this quiz, and the quiz says, "What is your dream, or what do you want to happen in your life in the future?" He just kind of sits there and he's thinking about it, but it's blank. So comes up to him and tells him, "Isn't there anything you want?" And he doesn't say anything at first, and then he says, "I always wanted to see the stars with my family." So this brings depth to the character because you find out that he's actually going through a lot of emotional pain because of his family. It just isn't there. Like his family just isn't there for him. Also doesn't have anything written down on her paper either, but she does the cutest thing. Like she gets his pen and writes that I will become Yuki's wife, and we will see the stars together. He takes it as a joke, but inside he has to be like the happiest person. That's what makes the whole anime come together in terms of like I didn't see as a psycho anymore, and it's more like a psycho anymore. She's just more of doing everything she can from the start, like everything she did from the start, has been like to protect him because she really does care for him. But that's when I get slapped in the face because that's when you find out that the reason Yuki grew up the way he did, not having anyone, is whenever anyone would even try to get close to Yuki as a friend, would kill them. And holy shit, does that break him down. Imagine how much it must hurt to know that everything he is, it's all because of He was so alone that he actually came up with imaginary friends just to keep him sane. Like, fuck, honestly, just Matt, can you think how messed up that is if everything that we have done up until this point was controlled by another person? How mentally destroyed would it be after? Especially for all the people who have gone through some dark times just for it to be planned, for it to happen that way. Like that she's after that, Yuki still stays with her. And all this happens, like he just forgets that ever even like he just forgets it ever happened. And he tries to survive again, killing most of the other diary holders. And that's when his mom dies because his dad stabbed her. And he doesn't find this out. Then the dad dies because some cop throws a knife in his heart. Yeah, fucking that bastard. But to him, he just lost his family. He lost the one thing that he's been holding on to his whole life. The hope that one day his family will get back together and see the stars. He loses it. He kills the cop and starts crying. And is there hugging him, and it starts a dark path for him. He listens more like to and near the end, he ends up killing everyone. He ends up killing everyone for her because she said everyone betrayed you, and he starts killing like all his group. And that's when he's gone. But the one thing he saw was this message that said that this is the second world. Has already become God in the first world and traveled back in time. He ignores this message, and Yuki and come together. That is until he tells her that the message. He tells her about the message, and she has her axe over him. And this is when you realize that this is true. And he runs for his life. This is when like Yuki runs outside and this fairy girl shows him why wants to kill him, going through the quiz scene, and also he sees the first world's Yuki commit suicide, but it was supposed to be a double suicide, but she ends up spitting out the seed, like spitting out the pills. And was gonna like she basically became God so she can bring him back to life. But when she couldn't, she went to the second worlds. Like she went to the second world to, spend time with that Yuki, like get him, like whatever. Yeah, it gets complicated. Then there's third world BS, and yeah, okay. To finally finish this up, the best part is the last moment. Is the last moment Yuno is about to kill that world's Yuno, and this time Yuki saves her just in time. Before Yuki, like had a fight and she trapped him in his mind or something like that, but he breaks it by having this amazing moment in his mind where his parents tell him you chose her over saving your dream. So follow your heart. That's when he saved the second world and screams Yuno's name. The second world leaves and it's the two of them hugging. Says how he has to die so she can make a better place for herself and ask to kill herself, like kill him. They're crying, but it's the best thing to do. She ends up stabbing herself. And my God, the song for this was so great. Yuki was crying, saying that there was no point to him being alive if she's not there with him, and it made me cry. I'm not gonna lie, it was it was great seeing the story have such a good ending, and it wasn't the ending that everyone had hoped for, but then there's Redial. That one was the best ending. Like after you guys finish the anime you guys ever do, watch Redial. It's one of the best endings. Like you just find out he just kind of there in this empty ass universe. He's just not doing anything, just looking at this diary for the rest of life. What happens after? It's great. I don't want to spoil it, but it's amazing. I hope you guys have enjoyed this breakdown. I try to do it from beginning to end, skipping a lot of the in between so you guys can enjoy them if you ever watch the anime. For the parts I did say, trust me, when you watch them, you start understanding the character's mindset throughout the show. It's an amazing payoff. Alright guys, this has been Dino Matrix, and I'm signing out.